music, through lyrics, through certain passages, through certain patterns, through certain grooves, through certain combinations of instruments, you can speak. I knew, I was very aware that like nobody was playing the bass like I was in India. So I was 3 years old when I picked up the bass. My dad had dreams of having 2 kids. One would be a drummer, one would be a bass player. I was always in love with music. I mean, music is fun, and music was always floating in the house, but it's kind of like, you know, the culture that I come from, we were raised with very strict values in the house, and I'm Bengali by my mother tongue, so it's even stricter. Parents always said that you will have all that time, you will have all the time to do all of the shopping and going to movies later on in your life, but right now, you gotta build your life, have a career of your own, be independent, don't be like others, you know. I want something greater for you, I want something bigger for you, I see it in you and you're so sincere and obedient, and I guess my dad saw the spark in me. If I was taught to do something, I would do it at a good level, and so when he was teaching music, he saw that sincerity in me, you know, that I wanted to excel at it because I was giving it my all, and I was really trying to make my dad happy, actually, honestly. I never wanted to play the bass. Really, my experiences are all that I put in my songs. Whatever I learn, whatever I feel. If you've heard my album, you will hear the very first song. It's called The Introverted Soul. And that's me. I wrote that song when I was 13 years old. I was very introverted. I was super shy. I was, you know, growing up in a very strict household. I was not allowed to do a bunch of things that my age group people were doing. And so there was a sense of I'm not winning, you know, like I'm losing, a sense of losing. I needed to find something that I could vent through, and music became that. Became my drive. And so Introverted Soul, when I wrote that song, I was 13 years old, and really you will hear all the fire that was inside of me that was not coming out because I needed to say my story like how I'm feeling. So there's like a wave of emotions that you'll feel. It starts really strong and then it goes down to like this melodic bridge, you know, where really you feel like my soul, you know, like how I was feeling, how I was depressed, you know, because I couldn't do what I wanted to do, you know. I was trying to live my dad's dream. And then it comes back up where it's all fire, like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do, and this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm more than just a bass player. Like, there's more to me. I can do it all. I don't have to do one thing. I used to be that kind of person who's like, oh, I don't need to play through any pedals. Like, I like my sound. It's great. I still think it's great, and I love my sound. But having said that, when I heard my dad and other guitarists play through these synth pedals, and I was like, wow, that sounds cool. I want to try that. And it exposes me to different sounds and different stylistic ideas, you know, and how the sonic spaces are so different, but still yet the same in my mind, you know. I approach it from the same mind space. What if I stay me, I can stay myself, but what if I just use that as like an extension of myself. Like, what if I just add some effect and I don't have to do any tonal changes, but I can still have my tone and sound. Nobody mess with my sound, but like just add like makeup, right? Like you just put highlighter or contour or blush to like highlight your features, right? And so it became like that. I was getting sent a lot of pedals from different companies, and Dark Glass Electronics happened to be one of the companies that sent me this pedal called Alpha Omega. And oh my God, the moment I played through that pedal, I fell in love. Like the first time I felt distortion was coming out of my body and not my bass, you know? I was like, oh my God, I need to use this more often. And I was meeting up with Steve Vai's guitar techie, Thomas Nordegg, and I was, I think, doing a masterclass at MI that time, and I had carried my, I guess, just half-done pedal board, and he came, he was so sweet, he came and he set up my entire pedal board and he showed me how to do it. And that was like one of the biggest learning experiences for me. Like, it was special because Steve Vai's guitar techie, Thomas Nordegg, was the first one to build my pedal board properly and show me how to do it. And then I started having fun. I started adding more and more pedals, like the Mooger Fooger, you know, the ring modulator. And then I have the OC2 by Boss. Quite a few pedals. I think I have about 12 pedals on my pedal board that I switch in and out between, but really nothing for EQ, but just synth pedals. They're all synth pedals. So I grew up playing with a lot of percussive instruments, and in India, especially the north and the south side of India, there are a lot of exotic players and exotic instruments like mridangam, kanjira, ghatam, morsing. Some of these names people have probably not even heard, but there are these instruments that exist in India, and there are these amazing players that exist in India, and I got the opportunity to explore that side of India. I was getting called to play with these artists, and at first I don't think they knew that like I was fascinated by that aspect of like style, because I was a bass player. Like, I was playing the bass like a bass is supposed to play, like just groove, you know? I wasn't doing anything crazy, but I was slapping a little bit because of my dad, because my dad really knew how to slap the bass, and he used to do all these like palm slides things, and I was really into that. There are barely any bass players in India. Like, from the city that I am in, there are barely like, I think like 5 bass players. That's crazy. India is like, I think, has the highest population now, you know? And to have only 5 bass players or 6 bass players in one city, that's not good. Like, I'm sure there are many, but like in my head, like the best, like who can actually play, you know, that I can just name off the top of my head. Yeah, we need more musicians, you know, and hopefully one day like I can bring that kind of like community, like after I do a little bit in the West and I'm able to be in a position where I can bring a lot of like music education where people can read and write, you know, in India, because a lot of musicians cannot read and write, you know. It's got a very unique culture where people can just come and like jam together and make music, and it sounds incredible. Like, how are you able to do that? Because it's a different culture. It's like jazz standards resolving in certain ways, you know. There are these certain taglines that you end songs with. So we also have these certain konakul tags that if you start saying the first line, we know the formula, how to end the formula, you know. It's kind of like that. It's interesting. It's just, but I do feel like there is still a lack of music education in India and lack of music schools. And so it's important that we bring that more and bring the kids more, expose the kids more to different kinds of music and not just one kind, because then it's like, then the youth wants to go to Sunburn festivals and Bollywood festivals and not independent music festivals, you know? Sky's the limit when it comes to these things. It's like you're exploring a side that has not been explored to the fullest yet. Where are you gonna go with it? It's only the starting point.